Comrade Rosetta Johnson comes forward for the Friends of Mount.
South Africa has been supporting the youth, students. We supported the ANC school in Tanzania. And then, of course, when people went back to South Africa, Friends of Somafo, they are there supporting people in South Africa, the students. Oh, I shouldn't say much.
Well, in order to discipline my mouth, I started to write something down this morning. But Nelson Mandela has been an inspiration to me and people all throughout the world because of his revolutionary spirit and his character. His character of dedication to his cause, responsibility, humility, and loyalty to the collective. The focus and purpose of his life was the liberation of his people. He used those 27 years in prison to study, to plan the struggle. Goodness. I didn't expect that. He wanted to think. He even thought about within his constricted environment to keep his to care for his health, and he had been a boxer, so he wanted to exercise. He got to 95 with some help of his own, and God, of course. Mandela was part of a collective, the African National Congress, and he always saw himself as part of a collective, not an independent revolutionary. The ANC was part of an alliance, the African National Congress, the Coalition of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, and the South African Communist Party. And it was this alliance working together that organized masses and masses of people in South Africa. The United States and throughout the world, masses of people formed a people's movement in spite of governments, because our government supported the apartheid regime. It was people here, like the people in this room, who did their little bit. It takes a people's movement to bring about revolutionary change. And Nelson Mandela knew this, and he supported it, and if you read his autobiography, you will see in his own words. Now, in Philadelphia, we have, in the Philadelphia area, we have Godfrey Sithole. He was the ANC representative. He was the person who sacrificed and gave his life to the struggle. He was here. So Nelson Mandela inspired the ANC, and the ANC inspired him. It was a two-way inspiration. Godfrey came here in the 1960s. I didn't even know what was happening in South Africa until the 1980s. So I came late to this movement that many, many people and organizations, as Mr. Slaughter was saying, it was something that spread because it was to bring about change, revolutionary change in the world. Friends of Samarco, our organization, began in 1987 after the 1976 Soweto uprising, where the youth, many of them who were involved, had to flee the country. And we collected about 14 tons of school supplies, clothing, books, to send to a school that was established for those students who fled the country. There are a couple things you will not see in the movie. You won't read it in a book. You won't see it on TV in the documentaries. It will be hidden from you. What the Cuban people, little country of Cuba, did.
That's right. Talk about it. Talk
You
about
will never hear it. You have to seek it out on your own and find out what this struggle was all about, because you're only going to get some of it. It's going to be, you know, made for our consumption. The Cubans sent thousands of troops to Angola and Namibia to fight for the liberation against, they fought South Africa Defense. They fought South African troops along with the military wing of the African National Congress. And you're never going to see that part of the struggle. But if you take time to read and go on the internet, you can find out more about the struggle. And it can be a lesson to us. Many people have said, and I have to admit, I was naive. I thought Mandela's the president and everything's going to be wonderful. And a very naive attitude, and because we really didn't know what was happening. The ANC-led government under President Mandela inherited a bankrupt country. They had sold as many resources as they could. The owners of the mines, they let them go into disrepair, which caused the deaths of many miners because they were thinking that they're going to be nationalized. All of these problems, tremendous problems, lack of education, lack of experience. This is what President Mandela inherited. And if he had not been for forgiveness and reconciliation, there would have been a civil war, bloodbath in South Africa because they had it all planned. And it's a long, complex story. But we can learn from it. Because in our own country, in this city, to see, as a retired school teacher, to see public education smashed, it is so discouraging in my old age. It is very depressing. And the only thing we can do is to learn from the life of Nelson Mandela. wonderful man, devoting himself to the highest ideals, caring for his people, fighting for his people, sacrificing for his people, and we need to do the same.